You ever notice how the moment you finally start pulling away, she suddenly goes quiet? Not angry, not emotional, just quiet. And that silence hits harder than any goodbye ever could, because deep down, you feel it. Something is shifting, and you're not sure if you're losing her or waking her up. But here's the truth nobody ever told you. When a woman genuinely loves a man, she doesn't always run toward him. Sometimes, she ignores him. Not because she stopped caring, but because you've triggered a part of her psychology she doesn't want you to see. Men misunderstand this all the time. You think distance means disinterest. You think silence equals rejection. You think her pulling back is the beginning of the end. But I want you to sit with something uncomfortable for a moment. Her silence can be the loudest sign she still feels deeply for you, maybe deeper than she's ready to admit. Because a woman who feels nothing has nothing to protect. But a woman who loves you, she protects her feelings like a wound she doesn't want touched. When she loves you, ignoring you can become her shield. She does it because her emotions run so strongly that she's afraid of losing herself. She fears saying too much, caring too openly, or giving you the power to hurt her. So she controls the one thing she can, her presence, and that control makes her feel safe. But here's where the psychology gets brutally honest. Ignoring you isn't about punishing you. It's about regulating herself. You see, a woman who is emotionally invested becomes vulnerable in ways she doesn't always show. She may pull back because she noticed herself checking her phone too often, feeling jealous too quickly, getting attached too deeply. She wants you, but she doesn't want to appear needy. She wants to reach out, but doesn't want to be the only one trying. She wants your attention, but fears you don't value hers. So she creates distance, not to push you away, but to measure how close she can safely be. And this is where most men self-destruct. When she pulls back, you chase harder. You overtext, you overanalyze, you try to fix something that wasn't broken to begin with. You turn her quiet moment of emotional regulation into a reason to panic. And the moment you do that, she feels confirmed in her fear. She tells herself, he's too reactive. He doesn't understand me. He doesn't get what I need emotionally. And the cycle widens. But the man who holds his ground, the man who doesn't collapse under her silence, the man who stays calm, focused, composed, he becomes rare to her, irreplaceable. He becomes the man she can love without fear because he doesn't absorb her insecurity. He dissolves it. And deep down, that's why she fell for you in the first place. Something about you felt safe. If a woman truly loves you, she won't ignore you forever. She's not disappearing. She's recalibrating, watching how you handle her silence, watching if your interest collapses without constant reassurance, watching if you still move like a man with purpose, or a boy desperate for validation. Her psychology is simple. If she loves you, she wants to feel chosen, but not chased, desired, but not smothered, valued, but not worshipped. She watches your emotional strength, not your emotional reactions. So before you assume she stopped caring, ask yourself this: is she ignoring you or protecting herself from how deeply she feels? There's something you need to understand about women that most men never figure out until it's too late. A woman doesn't ignore a man she's done with. She ignores the man she still feels something for because she's terrified of giving him more power than he already has. When her feelings grow faster than her sense of security, silence becomes her safety net. And the stronger her love, the stronger her instinct is to retreat, not to leave you, but to regain emotional balance. Think about it. When she didn't care about you, she was open, carefree, even bold. She replied fast. She flirted without hesitation. She didn't overthink anything. But the moment she started to feel something real, that's when the shift began. Suddenly she became cautious. Suddenly she needed space. Suddenly she wasn't giving you the same energy. And you probably sat there wondering, why does she act distant now that things were finally going well? It's because the more a woman cares, the more she compares her feelings to her fears. She fears being too available. She fears loving too much. She fears losing you before she even has you. And the ironic twist? She fears losing the man she loves more than she fears losing the man she merely likes. That's why the woman who loves you might ignore you, while the woman who doesn't care texts you instantly. It's backwards, confusing, frustrating, but completely human. Female psychology isn't built on logic alone. It's built on emotional risk management. When she ignores you, she's not testing your patience. She's testing her own emotional stability. She's trying to see if she can detach just enough to stop her heart from running ahead of reality. And she watches your reaction closely, not because she wants control, but because your reaction reveals your emotional maturity. If you panic, push harder, or desperately seek her attention, she sees a man who needs reassurance instead of a man who creates it. But if you respond with calm confidence, you show her that love with you doesn't have to be chaotic or uncontrollable. And here's a truth most men never hear. Women don't fall in love with effort alone. They fall in love with emotional safety. And if she's ignoring you, it means you've triggered emotions she hasn't learned how to handle yet. She may need time to understand why she feels so drawn to you. She may need space to see if her heart is safe in your hands. She may be pulling away so she doesn't lose her independence while falling deeper for you. But here's where the real power lies. And this is something high-value men instinctively know. You gain her trust by not reacting to her distance. You gain her attraction by not collapsing into insecurity. You gain her respect by showing that your life is full, not empty without her. Women love men who can love without clinging, who can desire without demanding, who can care deeply without losing themselves. When she sees that your world doesn't fall apart when she takes a breath, something inside her shifts. Your stability becomes magnetic. Your self-control becomes attractive. Your ability to respect her emotional space becomes proof that you're not like the men she had to protect herself from before. And slowly, her silence softens. Her guard lowers. Her presence returns, not because you chased her, but because she feels safe approaching you. Never forget this. A woman who loves you might ignore you temporarily, but she won't let you go permanently. Her silence is not the end. It's the pause her heart takes before choosing you again. There's a moment every man experiences but rarely understands. The moment when a woman who once adored you suddenly becomes unpredictable. One day she's warm, expressive, present, and the next she's distant, slow, unreadable. You start questioning yourself. Did you say something wrong? Did you do something to push her away? Is she losing interest? But here's the cold truth most men never hear. When a woman loves a man deeply, she doesn't pull away because he did something wrong. She pulls away because she's afraid her heart is falling too fast to protect. A woman's love doesn't come in a straight line. It comes in waves, intense, overwhelming, beautiful, and sometimes terrifying. When she feels that wave rising inside her, she will often retreat to avoid drowning in it. And that retreat feels like rejection to you. But to her, it feels like survival. She needs time to steady herself, to make sure the feelings she has aren't illusions or wishful thinking. She needs to confirm that she's not mistaking hope for reality, because women don't fear loving a man, they fear loving the wrong one. But here's the part men rarely see. When she pulls back, she's watching everything. Not in a manipulative way, but in a protective one. She studies your patience, your consistency, your emotional control. She pays attention to whether you stay grounded or whether you unravel because her attention isn't constant. She wants to know if you're a man who can handle her in all her complexity, vulnerability, passion, and fear. Because love is easy, but emotional safety, that's rare. Let me be brutally honest with you. Women don't ignore men who don't matter to them. They give them quick answers, polite energy, and empty conversations. But ignoring, that's reserved for men who have the power to affect them. The man whose words linger in her mind. The man whose presence she thinks about even when she's trying not to. The man who, without trying, awakened emotions she wasn't ready for. Silence isn't her way of disappearing, it's her way of processing. Inside her mind, she's having conversations you'll never hear. Why do I miss him this much? What if I care more than he does? What if I'm not enough for him? What if I fall and he doesn't catch me? Those aren't thoughts of a woman who's losing interest. Those are thoughts of a woman trying not to lose control, and this is where men often break the connection without realizing it. Instead of giving her the emotional space she needs, they chase harder. They try to force clarity, they demand reassurance. But pressure only amplifies her fear. And suddenly, what was once love becomes noise. What was once attraction becomes confusion. What was once deep potential becomes emotional exhaustion. But the man who stands still in himself, the man who doesn't panic, doesn't beg, doesn't break apart when she needs distance, he becomes the man she trusts because he shows her something priceless, that his confidence isn't dependent on her constant validation, that his world spins with or without her, that he wants her but isn't owned by the need for her. Women fall hardest for men whose presence remains strong even in silence. And slowly, without forcing anything, her fear begins to ease. Her heart begins to steady. Her trust begins to grow. Because she sees a man who doesn't just want her, he can hold her emotionally. And once a woman believes a man is safe to love, she stops ignoring him and starts choosing him with intention. Her distance wasn't rejection, it was preparation for something deeper. There comes a point in every man's journey where he has to face an uncomfortable truth. Women don't fall in love with your words. They fall in love with your emotional energy. And when she ignores you, it isn't because she stopped wanting you. It's because she's trying to understand the energy you carry when she's not around. Most men react by trying to fill the silence. They text more, they push harder, they demand answers. But a woman doesn't judge you by how you behave when she's giving you attention. She judges you by how you behave when she isn't. When she goes quiet, she's studying the version of you that shows up. Does the confident man she admired still exist without her validation? Do you still act like the man who attracted her? Or do you crumble the moment her presence fades? A woman can feel the difference instantly. When a man collapses under silence, she no longer sees strength. She sees emotional dependence. And nothing makes a woman pull back further than the pressure of carrying a man's insecurity. But the man who remains grounded when she steps away, the man who doesn't break, doesn't chase, doesn't overreact, just continues being himself, that man becomes unforgettable. Women don't say this out loud, but they all feel it. Emotional consistency is more attractive than appearance, status, or charm. A woman ignores you partly because she needs space, but also because she needs to see whether your confidence is genuine, whether you can hold your center without her. Most men underestimate the importance of this moment. They mistake her silence for abandonment and start trying to prove themselves. But when you try to prove yourself, you've already lost the frame. A woman wants to feel chosen, not chased. She wants to feel desired, not depended on. She wants to feel valued, not worshipped. When you overextend, she feels your desperation. When you panic, she feels your fear. When you become unstable, she feels unsafe. And here's a raw truth many men never hear. The more deeply a woman loves you, the more she needs to know she won't lose herself in that love. That's why she pulls back. She's not rejecting you. She's checking if the relationship will consume her. She wants to feel like she can breathe around you, that she can step away without the whole connection collapsing. Because if she has to sacrifice her emotional space to keep you stable, she won't stay. A woman admires the man who moves with purpose even when she's silent. She notices the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, the way you focus on your life when she's not available. She notices whether you stay on your mission or whether you drift the moment she withdraws. She notices if you respect her emotional rhythm or if you take it personally. All of this shapes how safe she feels loving you. But here's the beautiful part of female psychology. When a woman realizes you're a man who can stand firmly even when she steps back, she begins to trust her feelings more. She stops fighting her emotions. She stops doubting her heart. She stops running from the connection because she sees that it doesn't threaten her identity. And slowly, her silence turns into softness. Her distance turns into curiosity. Her fear turns into desire. A woman may pull away to protect her heart, but she comes back when she realizes yours is strong enough to hold her without suffocating her. When she sees that your love isn't a cage, but a space she can breathe in. She stops ignoring you and starts opening up in ways she never has before. Her silence is not a wall, it's a doorway, but only a grounded man can walk through it. Now, let's be brutally honest. A woman who ignores you while still loving you isn't doing it to punish you. She isn't playing games. She isn't trying to test you in the way you imagine. She's doing it because love for her isn't simple. Love is powerful, intense, and sometimes terrifying. When her emotions grow faster than her sense of control, she pulls back. Not from disinterest, but from fear. Fear of losing herself. Fear of feeling too much. Fear of giving her heart to someone who might not respect its weight. When you finally understand this, it changes everything. It explains the moments that confused you, the moments when her presence was hot and cold, the moments when you felt her absence more sharply than her presence. Her silence isn't emptiness, it's depth. It's an internal process of figuring out how to hold the intensity of her feelings without collapsing under them. She needs a man who doesn't just see her, but who sees her struggle, her vulnerability, and her strength all at once. The truth is, men chase what they can't hold. Women, on the other hand, pull back from what feels overwhelming, even if it's exactly what they want. Her ignoring you isn't the end of attraction. It's her way of figuring out how to keep it alive without losing herself. And how you respond to that moment defines the trajectory of your connection. Do you panic and push? Or do you stand steady, confident in your own worth, patient in your own purpose, unshaken by her distance? The answer reveals your true value in her eyes. Because here's the secret. A woman doesn't measure love by intensity. She measures it by security, emotional security, consistency, stability. She wants to know that the man she invests in isn't a man who will disappear when life gets complicated or when she tests the limits of his patience. She wants a man who can handle her complexity, her moods, her fear, her love, and still remain the man she admires, not the man she can control. And here's where most men fail. They mistake ignoring for loss. They mistake silence for rejection. They mistake her need for space as proof she doesn't care. But a woman who truly loves you, who can't let go of the bond between you, will watch quietly, waiting for a man who proves he is worthy of her heart. That worthiness isn't in chasing. It's in being steady, calm, confident, independent, full of life that doesn't depend entirely on her attention. That is magnetic. That is rare. That is irresistible. So if she ignores you, don't react like a man who fears losing her. React like a man who knows his value and trusts the bond you share is stronger than temporary absence. Stay committed to your purpose, your growth, your life. Give her space, but remain emotionally present without pressure. Let your energy remind her that you are a man worth returning to, that your presence isn't a cage and your absence isn't a threat, that your stability makes her feel safe, emotionally and psychologically. And when she comes back, she comes with intention, not out of obligation, not out of guilt, not because she wants to manipulate, but because she sees a man who respects her, who values himself, and who doesn't crumble in the face of the love she offers. Her silence will have been a test of not you, but her own heart, and your strength will have been the proof she needed to stop questioning whether love with you is safe. Now here's the personal challenge for you. Think about the last time a woman ignored you while showing signs of care. Ask yourself, did you stand steady or collapse? Did you create attraction or desperation? Write down your answer in the comments. Share your insights. And if this truth hit you hard, like this video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Because understanding her mind isn't just about relationships, it's about becoming the man who commands respect, desire, and unwavering attention from the woman who matters most.